Hey guys, Nick with Elite Endurance. Today we're going to look at a specific piece of equipment, that being the farmer's handles. Now, unfortunately, these kind of get a rap as being only for strongmen, when in fact they can actually be used for anyone. So anyone who's looking to increase grip strength, and obviously this would be important for someone who's focusing on deadlifts or pull-ups or basically you name it. So what I'm getting at here is that these are certainly not just for a strong man only. These are certainly for anyone who wants to get that gorilla grip strength, which is key. So for starters, we're going to take a look at the ones that we use at Elite Endurance. We actually have two types here. This type here, as you can tell, the weight would load obviously right from the top. Behind me here, we have a similar type that would just slide on much like a barbell would. Really is no difference to it. The only thing that you would have to be mindful of is when you do set the weights down on the ones that slide on like a barbell, those then would or could potentially come loose if you set them down really hard. But in addition to all of this, you don't even need this kind of equipment. You could simply do it with dumbbells, you could do it with kettlebells, so it's an exercise that can be done with no real special equipment whatsoever. The ones we use here at Elite Endurance are nice because, again, the way that the weight is loaded on it, it's very even, and you're not worried about when you set it down hard whether those plates are going to then come loose. Now that we've covered that, let's take a look and see some of the key points to it. So I'll have Tricia assist here, and what we're going to first look at, I'll have you go ahead and step in, is where you're position yourself within those farmer's handles, because that will make a huge bit of difference. First and foremost, what's key is that you're going to grip in the middle. So as you can see here, you got a pretty good span, and you're going to want to get dead center in that, because if you're not dead center in that, let's say if you want to grip on the back half of it. So if you grip on the back half where you're not dead center with it, you see how they pitch forward. Now what that's going to do is that's going to tax just your two front fingers more than anything. Conversely, if she is too far forward on it, you'll see that they then pitch backwards. Now, again, as you can imagine, that's going to tax those rear two fingers. So for a grip strength exercise, you want to make sure everything's getting equally worked. So you grip right in the very center. With that being said, as far as grip-wise goes, you want to grip as deep as you can into your palm. You don't want to let it slide down to those fingertips because, again, we want to develop grip strength, not finger strength. So gripping in the middle, gripping as deep as you can into your palm, those are going to be some of those key elements in order to get yourself that solid base. Because if you start off where you're either too far forward or you're too far back, you're going to find it's going to make everything else from there get harder and be more challenging in a not so good way. So once your grip is ready, let me set it back down again. You can imagine when you pick it up, you're picking it up much like you would do any kind of deadlift or squat. Again, we want to use good body mechanics. So first things first, that butt is going to shoot back first like you would do for a squat or like you would do for a deadlift. Making sure that that back is not hunched or rounded over. Again, bending at those knees and hips. We're going to come down. We're going to grab right in the center of it. I'll go ahead and have you demo that. So again, good posture. We're not rounding over. We're letting our body mechanics work for us and not against us. Once the weight is up, there's another key element that most people miss out on here, and that is your actual gait and how quick that your pace is. As far as gait goes and steps, you want to make sure that they are smaller than you naturally would walk. If they're larger than that, as you can imagine, with time, those farmer's handles are going to start swaying back and forth, which will make this more of a challenge than it should be. As we can see here, Trisha's going to demonstrate, they will rock back and forth on you. So again, key thing, taking small steps. As far as pace goes, a pretty healthy pace is always a good starting point. You can speed it up, but the biggest thing is for the athlete is to become comfortable with it. Again, if we're going to move too quick with it, we're going to start to lose those good body mechanics. We're going to see you're going to start to roll over as that weight gets heavier. Again, you want to make sure that your chest is upright, your shoulders are pinned back, your traps are pulling you back, making sure everything's good and in line. Once that breaks down, though, that's when we see rolling in the back. So keeping pace, what you're comfortable with, and you're just going to gradually work up to doing something a little bit quicker. Weight, well, that weight is all going to be based upon your distance. So a simple 10-meter walk, you might go heavier with. If you're going something longer, like a 40-meter walk, you're going to decrease the weight and you're going to work on more endurance for that grip overall. So those are the main pointers of it. As I'd mentioned in the beginning, there is a slight note to make as far as how you set it down, and not so much with these. Obviously, you don't want to just slam them down. But it becomes more important when you're using this variety here where the weights are actually loaded like they are on a barbell. If you set them down too hard, things are going to start to get loose on you. And especially if you're doing a circuit or if somebody's following behind you, it's just going to lead to a much more sloppy work, more unproductive work, if you will. Guys, that's about it. So again, the farmer's handles, don't look at this as being just a strong man exercise only. This is for anyone who wants to increase that grip strength overall, and that can be applied to many sports or even many fitness disciplines. So don't write this one off, guys. Again, it can be done with many different types of tools, whether it be kettlebells, dumbbells, handles like these here. Challenge you to go ahead and give it a try and see what you think, guys. Until next time, I'm Nick. This is Trisha. We'll see you then.